Big.
Kamal, how you doing, sir?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good. Nice to be getting a cigar with you, man. I wanted to get your take, Kamal take on The Lady in the Yard, man. I know you got a chance to check it out, man. What you think? What you think?
To really talk about this, I want to do a compare and contrast from a review that review that you had me watch. I can't remember the guy's name, but anyway, I think his particular take is like the take of a lot of people uh, who are really watching this film in a very one-dimensional way. I love the film. I think this is you introduced me to Blumhouse, and uh, at the time I wasn't a huge horror buff, but
You say
so
you love the film. What did you love about it? First of all, let's just get that out the way.
I love the fact that it touched on some areas that I think are connected to a lot of people's struggles here lately. Um, Depression, anxiety, mental disorders um, have always been an issue from the dawn of time. But I think here recently, uh, it's becoming more and more of a talking point. I think people are, it's the age of Google, it's the age of the internet research, and people like giving themselves, even though you have a generation of people who say that they don't like to be labeled, they don't like to be titled, they don't like to be put in a box. But then you also have those same group of people who gravitate towards these pseudoscience psychology terms that people have been labeled, you
What
know.
do you think about them using the horror genre or horror thriller genre, whichever one you want to label this film as. What do you think about them using that genre to talk about, depression, suicide?
I think it's a perfect avenue for it. This that particular generation who complain the most about having these particular ailments are is the same generation who would be interested in going to go see a movie, a horror movie, more than they would to go to therapy.
What did you think about the lead? I forget her name, but she's been doing some good work, man. She was in ATL. I think she was in one of the seasons for ATL. She was in the Emmett Till movie, Till. Um, I don't recall if she played Teal mother. I probably have to get educated on that. But what you think about the lead, the mother in the film?
Do you mean as far as her as a real person or her character?
Her as her character,
Oh, okay. Ramona.
Ramona. Yeah.
My first impression was because I'm not I wasn't familiar with her work, so my first impression was, wow, who is this attractive woman, man? I mean, I kept looking at her, even though in the film she had on this like leg brace and she was in crutches, but the her costume design was pretty much like this wife beater tank top type shirt, crop top, so you could see a little belly and the shape of her legs. And I was just like, wow, this is an extremely attractive woman, for sure. That was my first impression of her. So that obviously, if I'm attracted to them physically, I'm gonna want to continue to watching it. But if you want me to talk a little bit more about her character, and the way that she portrayed it, I believe that she was very believable. I believe that she was someone who was suffering from this dark cloud that was over her head. She really made me believe that the thing about my take, and I'll just go on into it. The thing about my take, which is different than a lot of people's take, is that she. I don't think that the beginning of the movie was the beginning of her day. Um, the guy that I was the review guy that I was listening to, he starts off saying, you know, it starts off with her day. She wakes up in the morning. She can barely get out of bed. She's, you know, super depressed because her husband passed away. Her husband died. Her son had to come in and draw the curtains open and let the light come in. Um, from my take on the film, that is not the beginning of the day. From my take on the film, the ending of the movie is the beginning of her day, because I believe that she had already put the gun to her head.
So you don't think she was alive like from the jump? You think this is just this whole film? Obviously, the whole film of The Lady in the Yard was just her in her head. She's already passed. She's already pulled the trigger and killed herself, committed suicide, already took her life, and she's just replaying this day over and over again.
When what I understand now again, I'm going into supernatural, and then I'm mixing it with uh, theatrics. So I'm putting, you know, science fiction with supernatural, with paranormal, with theater, all combined. So from from my understanding of it, when one commits suicide, doesn't allow them to pass on to an afterlife. Whether or not you agree with any of that, you know, is the same thing to say, you know, I don't believe that you know, in Iron Man, or I don't believe in Superman. It's like, you know, you have to use your imagination with me here. But um with the with her, she wasn't starting her day, if though that was a brand new day. She's repeating the day over and over again, because she's already taken her life. Clues to help me get to that was mostly at the end. Um, and one thing that she understood about the lady, she made a comment. She said she can't, you know, speaking about the demon woman, she can't hurt you if there's no light. Now, if this is something brand new, how would she know that? What, because the movie didn't tell us uh that was, it wasn't, you know how in some horror films or in some films there's like this guru person who comes in and explains everything. That person wasn't in this film. There wasn't anyone who were telling her, thus the audience, about this supernatural being, but she understood about it. And I believe she understood about it is because she deals with it over and over again. When this day starts, she doesn't remember, but as she continues to go through the day, it starts to come back to her, and starts to come back to her to the very end. She thinks it's gonna start over, but then if we went past the time where they went into the lights came back on and she goes back into the house with her kids, she's gonna go to sleep, and when she wakes up again, kid's gonna draw the curtains open. She's gonna be looking at that video all over again.
And that's Kamal's take.